Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the United Kingdom, and today I'm working with the lovely Whimsical Trees stamp and die set with the lovely dies in there, and the Whimsey and Wonder designer series paper to make this cute little triangular opening box, just reinforced on the side there. So just a little bit of fun, and I just used the little trees to decorate, and you can see how I've used the banners pick a punch as well to make those easy little flags as well. So this one I've used this lovely holly paper, and the paper on the front side of these has got some iridescent foiling, so you can see some lovely sparkle on that. So that's the snowflake design with some lovely stripes. We have that gorgeous holly and that polished pink, which I love. Some fabulous trees, which obviously go really well with these, and the die will cut out this tree as well as this one here. There we go, mint macaron on the reverse. Lovely gifts with this mossy meadow and polished pink berry. Really useful diagonal stripes, you know, you could use that for any sort of occasion. Just a thin strip of that would just have a lovely accent. And again, some mossy meadow, and then some fabulous baubles as well on that one there. So that's the paper. So the papers have got lovely blushing bride and polished pink, mossy meadow, mint macaron, misty moonlight and iridescent tones. But I've also added into that soft succulent. I think that works really well with it. Yeah, you have lots of fun. So yeah, so the project I'm going to make is this lovely box. So there is one made a square version of this, which I've seen a few people do, but it wasn't really big enough for what I wanted, so I wanted something that was actually obviously going to sort of have a decent size to it. So to give you an overall size, this is actually sort of 4 3/4 by sort of 3 inches, so that's sort of, you know, 12 by about 8 inches, and a good depth to it as well. And yeah, not as complicated as it looks, but a bit of fun. I do like sort of gifting when it's fun. And the trees are from the tree dies, so I've already die cut some of those out, and I've added in a bit of fresh freesia as well. So you can see I've just die cut a range of these into all the different shapes and sizes. So we've kind of got the large and the small ones of those, which I just thought to say just a bit of fun, so we can use those for our decoration shortly. So in terms of cardstock, it uses a single sheet of A4, that's UK A4, so for those of you in the States you will need to use your 12 by 12 for this. So the base, to start off with, the card is 29 centimetres by 21, so 11 3/8 by 8 1/4 inches. You're going to score the long, no, not even the long, you're going to score the short at 1.9, at 4.4, at 16.6, and at 19.1. So that's at 3/4 inch, 1 3/4, 6.5 and 7.5. And then on the long edge, you're scoring at 8, at 10.5, at 18.5, and at 21 centimetres. Okay. And that is 3 1/8, 4 1/8, 7 1/4, 8 1/4. We're then going to want a piece of DSP for that top panel, which is 11 by 7 centimetres. And you're going to cut that in half, obviously diagonally. What I do there is I always lift the blade and start, when I'm cutting on the diagonal, I start it on the DSP and then cut down as well. And the reason for that is because otherwise if you start cutting right on the corner, you can sometimes just make that a little bit jagged. You also want some pieces, you want, depending on how much you want to decorate it. I'm actually going to use some of my scraps here, and because they're in narrow strips, I'm not worried about the fact that the DSP is a different orientation. So I want 2 pieces that are 11.5 centimetres long, and that's by 2 centimetres. So I'm going to trim that to 4 and go and cut it in half. So just so those are my 2, that's front and back pieces. And then my other piece, they want 7.5 centimetres. So I'm actually going to cut these at 2 centimetres. Move my finger out of the way so it actually closes down. And by 2 lots of 7.5. Pop those to one side as well. Okay. Now with our I've actually created a template. You might want to with something like this because you might want to just make sure that it all works out for you. But you will see that we're going to do some cutting away of sections, and we're going to score diagonally on another one as well. So just grab your ruler, and on this right hand panel, from the second score line down to this end score line, this last middle section, I'm actually going to score diagonally. Now you could cut this if you wanted to, but I think it looks much nicer if you trim that back and then turn that under. And I might even put a bit of DSP on the inside of that as well. In terms of cutting away then, you want to cut away. In fact, I'll probably fold and burnish these score lines first to help those stand out. So box making, folding, burnishing with a bow and folder really just help to make your boxes that much sharper. And it reinforces them so that they fold up into a nice box shape. And obviously at the same time, just make sure you're lining up on these edges here as well. So even if your scoring is off slightly, you can just rectify that at this point. Okay. Right, so I've cut away those bottom 2 sections. So I'm going to go to the diagonally opposite corner and do the same. Like so. Then you're going to cut down to create tabs on these sections, and you're going to do a bit of trimming. So cut straight down either side of those little short sections. Now I trim away that outer square and then just notch those in. It gives you just a better fit. Now it's not essential to take that outer square off, it just gives you a longer section, but you will need to trim them a little bit because otherwise they'll overlap in the centre. So again, just all the way down. And then again. So, next thing I'm going to do is just cut these single pieces on the other diagonal corners. So, and again on the other side as well. So you'll end up with something that looks like this. And if you want to see how that looks on a template, you'll see here. So you can see I'm going to be cutting away this last bit here, and we've done on these two corners both sections and one section on these corners. So I'm just going to come across with my scissors and all the way over there, and the only thing you'll need to do is you'll need to just angle this last bit as well, because when that folds, you'll see here, you don't want it fouling on that score line to close the lid, so it's just at a sharp angle there. Okay, so that's with all of the trimming done. So now, while it is nice and flat, let's add our DSP on as well. Okay, so we're just flat glue. Now, whatever your preference is, just for speed here, I'm actually using one of my old snails that I discovered when I was looking for my Seal Plus. And when you're doing triangles, I find the easiest way is to go in from the corner. So just bring it in, give a nice even border, like so. And then you have to remember that this is folding in like so. So it's on this corner that we're going to put our second triangle. And as I say, while it's flat, we can just add on our side panels. And our two long ones, front and back. Now obviously if you wanted to, you could add an extra layer onto these as well. So you could actually sort of put a contrast piece, maybe some Blushing Bride or a bit of the mint macaron, or as I say, maybe some of the fresh freesia, add a different colour in there as well. So that's what it's going to look like once you've got your DSP on. So we need to glue this down. Now I'm going to use just a bit of wet glue on there. You want to come right in on those. And this is where, again, bone folder, just to make sure that that's nice and smooth, like so. And then we're going to do our tabs. So you could use Seal Plus for this. As I said, I've run out. So I obviously do batches of videos. So you're going to have a whole batch of videos of me going, and I've run out of my Seal Plus. I can't believe it. One of the staples. But there we go. That's the downside of not having face-to-face classes. I'm usually well stocked up. And I've just noticed the other thing you want to do is on this outer tab is just cut that away slightly as well. That's just, again, just to make sure that you don't get any sort of puckering on those. And this is going to have some glue. So again, a good dose in this instance of some wet glue. Now you might choose to do the tabs first before you do this. Your choice entirely. Some people prefer to get those tabs glued first. So we're going to just fold that up, and the other side. I'm just lining that up with the outside edge, and then that flap just comes in. So just press and hold that, line up, and do the same on the other side. You'll find it easier if you fold those back. Again, And then once that has grabbed, come in and just as we did with the other one, just give a really good burnish with your bone folder. That will give a really nice flat finish on those, like so. You see? Now, the other thing that we'll want to do is just trim some of the edges on these as well. So I would say you just sort of take a small corner off there, because that will just enable it to fold in really nicely. And we want to do the same on this one, because you see it will just catch otherwise, and you don't want that. So you're just taking probably 1/2 centimetre, so 1/4 inch. And what I also found was if you just take that top corner off, in line with that, that just makes it easier for somebody to open it up as well. So as you can see, our box is really taking shape now. And then to do our little snow bit, all I did was I just took one edge and just created a wavy line, as simple as that. Make sure it's going to fit, which it will, and add that on. And this snow texture, I've actually used it for the polar bears as well, which is gorgeous. You get these really lovely fluffy polar bears. So anything that is has texture to it. And now we can add in our trees. So I'm just having a look at which colour is that it's where the present is that it's going to lie against. Again, I've just got a little bit of Tombow, so our fine tip glue would work really well for this. And if you add these in, you will just see that you could always cut them out with the double-sided adhesive on the back as well. That would work. I'm just going to trim that off. And this last one I'm going to trim right down. That might actually add. Probably would have been a good idea to do that while I was doing the DSP as well, really, wouldn't it, while it was still flat, but hey. Okay, so while those are drying, we can do our stamping. So if I clear the decks, I've just got some scraps of lovely Whisper White, so that's sort of an inch thereabouts. I'm going to grab my fresh freesia just to echo that extra colour that we've got coming in, and then I'm going to have a go at stamping straight. Okay. There we go. Finally. Then I'm going to pop that in my banner punch. With these, I do find I tend to have a quick look underneath and make sure it's pretty central. And then, so this piece was an inch wide, 2.5 centimetres. This one is just 1/2 inch. You see, that'll just go underneath there, just to create a nice little border, bit of interest. Just going to put a bit of glue down the centre there, and then from the front here, add it on, and then just line it up. And then I'm just pop that into your trimmer. Like so, and that's ready to go onto the front of our box with some dimensionals. some standard dimensionals. Nope, they're going to be elusive. Oh, but actually that is rather nice, because what that has shown me, which I should have remembered, because those would be great to add a bit of sparkle and shine. So these are our iridescent of opal rounds. Ah, look. So add a little bit of interest onto the front there. Oh, look at that, happy chance. So I can't find my big dimensionals, so I'm just going to add some of our mini dimensionals. Just either side, both sides of those, just to make sure it's well supported. You don't want anything, you don't want it falling off. Like so. Take those off. And what happens is, because you've got this extra layer here, that helps to just keep that lid in place. Now if yours was a little bit loose, you could easily make a belly band to go around it, or you could use the ribbon that I'm going to use to tie it closed. But I kind of wanted it to stand on its own, really. So let's pop that on. I can stick another one of these larger opal rounds. The iridescence of these is just beautiful. Oh, perfecto. Well, I think so. And then all I'm going to do is grab my fresh freesia and kind of about that much, right, which is actually no help whatsoever to you, is it? So I reckon about 18 inches, or probably a bit longer. That's a 16. That's yeah, that's about near about sort of about 24 inches of ribbon. But I just wanted to pop something, and because this sheer ribbon has got a nice bit of sparkle to it as well, that sort of sheen. So what I'm going to do is just tie that on, and I then pull it in sort of the opposite direction, and that kind of keeps it tight. Make sure it is actually round the box. There we go, on all four edges. Now if you're struggling with this at all, then just tie the knot, or use a surgeon's knot, so that's an extra loop. That'll help keep it tight for you. And then just tie your bow. And then again, to get that bow flatter, what I do is I grab the two tails below and the two loops above, and I kind of pull them in opposite directions. And then I can just keep pulling and tightening like so, and then come in. Now if you wanted to make sure that stayed in place, just grab a glue dot. But there we have, if I clear the decks, a pair of pretty diagonal closure boxes, which are a little bit unusual, using our lovely Whimsy and Wonder. So thanks for watching. Do come back and see me again soon, and please do like and subscribe to my videos. It makes a big difference and helps me carry on providing these free tutorials. If you'd like to purchase anything, pop along to my blog at flutterbyheidi.co.uk. The links are all there, along with the current host code, or you can just go straight to the links which are below this video here in the description. Just click on the little arrow and it'll expand it out. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.